Howdy folks, Dualistique here, and I am going to do kind of like a short series of my design process of going through and creating my website, portfolio website. And what I plan to do is kind of explaining each step that goes into designing, whether it's all the way from like start, and all the way from start to finish. So we're gonna cover basically like brainstorming to designing to maybe potentially prototyping, and then all the way to actually bringing it into coding. Specifically, we're going to build this in Webflow. I think that's going to be the easiest place to do this, especially since my current website is in Webflow. So I'm not going to change anything too much about that. So yeah, as you can tell, my portfolio is kind of very simple, and I liked it that way. It doxes who I am. It shows, what places I worked for, what I do, different case studies. I only showed like 3 of them. It is white theme, but I also added a dark theme. It had some really cool areas that I wish back in the days I kept on work towards. But one of the major things I did with the site was I just needed something to put up so I can get a job, and it served that purpose. It got me where I am today, and now I am looking to take it to the next step and alter it to become something different. So about the process, it's very simple, and I don't want to use this as a way to expose designers on what they do, but it's when you see it all together, you're gonna be like, wow, that's it, that's all what a designer does. But we can't dismiss the fact that as a designer, how we do things is actually very simple. I think anybody can actually do what can do the how. If I teach you how to build, design something in Figma and how to like code that in Webflow, like anyone can do that as long as you can follow like steps and rules. What you pay the designer for is what they do. The connections they build between the lines and how they can read between the lines of some things. And I will probably show that a little bit in all these videos of like, these are the things that you pay the designers for, or these are the things that we get paid to do and think about, because otherwise you might be just stuck thinking like, why does this work? How does this work? And it's good to leverage a designer that already knows everything about all the logistics of that, and then you can just trust them that it does work. I wanted to start with this video is titled Step 1, but there's actually a Step 0, which is most often done for you already. If you're a designer, you probably already know it's called the brief, the project brief, and it's basically dispelling what are you trying to do, why are you doing it, and what is like the expected outcome. That third question is kind of like iffy at times. You may not need it all the time, but definitely you need to know what you're trying to do. So for me, my example, what am I trying to do? Well, I'm trying to build, revamp, or redesign my portfolio website. And then why am I doing it? Well, for me, first of all, it's outdated. A lot of this stuff is old. You can see that I haven't written anything in my blog for 2 years. All this artwork is kind of old, and it's been 5 years, so I've done cool stuff within those 5 years. So I think it'd be cool to express those news projects in a different way rather than just copying like a template like this. It would be cool to do it in a new way and style, which will be nice. And as well as I am shifting the focus of what my portfolio want to be. Um, right now, it's kind of stationed as a way for me to kind of get jobs, but I want to shift its focus to more of facilitating or becoming a facilitator that can help people or company realize their visions of a product. And so that could just be from, I can assist in helping with that, or, maybe if I'm too busy, I definitely know a few designers that can do the same thing as I do, maybe even better, that can fit well with them, as well as I do know developers that can help build the designs that we've created. So it's a good segue to kind of to have as a website. And I'm also trying to lean towards more of a communal type of website where I can have a shop and I can have like a potential community or a Patreon that people can follow to get free resources or ideas and kind of just talk about designing in specifically my stage of career design. Like, I'm not talking about like Apple, Facebook, like those guys designing is on a different level than obviously what I'm doing, but there is this middle ground design that we all kind of enjoy rather than like having to move up in the ladder. We kind of like this space of design where we're still helping people, and then we don't quite want to get into sorry about that. We don't want to get caught into the big offices. So once step 0 is done, now you can just roll right into step 1, which is brainstorming. Now, brainstorming is kind of actually easy too. It's the easiest step, I believe, that anyone can do. If you're a new designer or someone that's just interested in how we work, brainstorming is basically the process of gathering images, references, inspiration for the project. And there's 2 common pitfalls I can see that most people get into when they're trying to brainstorm. And one is they're not organizing it. And it's mainly they're not organizing it to the point where they know like why they have why the photo is an inspiration or a reference. And so sometimes you'll often see like a random cooking recipe in there, or like a photo of a product that doesn't make sense. So as you're gathering resources and inspiration, make sure you're kind of labeling it or knowing that this is going to be for my website or this is going to be for something else. So that's going to help filter out some of the oddballs from your inspiration. The other pitfall is being too specific in your search. So in this, for instance, if I was looking for a portfolio website, I don't want to be stuck looking at portfolio website for more than like 2 hours, because that can kind of build up like a recency bias where now you looked at a few portfolio websites, maybe one of them just looks like the best and you kind of want to copy that. Now you kind of get stuck with almost copying it because it's your only reference point that you have, and that's all you're gonna like think about. So you can see that I have a lot of different references from other things, because I want to get inspiration about colors, structure, layouts, unique textures, typography, um, even just like concept like a TV screen. It's kind of interesting. I like the ideas of like a 90s look. You see a lot of typography stuff. You see a lot of anime stuff, so you can kind of already assume the type of feel I'm trying to get into for this turnaround. I even took a inference of like K-pop photo album books. Some of their layouts is pretty cool. So yeah, in terms of brainstorming, just find anything that looks interesting to you, and also keep a mental note of like why you're choosing it, and so forth. As far as a way to do this, I'm using Are.na, just a pretty cool place. You can drop files, paste links, and all that jazz. But I've seen people use Pinterest. Back in the days, you used to use Tumblr. You could use Figma, FigJam, or print out the pictures and have your own mood board. It's however you want to do it. Now, from brainstorming, we reached to an idea of collecting them all into one place. So before this, all these pictures were kind of just like laid in here randomly, so they weren't organized at all. And you'll see my other video, my long form video of this, where I go through the whole process of determining why I like this picture, doesn't even match what I'm trying to do, and just kind of analyzing what I like most about it. So that'll be a different video, but this short form video is just going over the basics and short commentary on each step. So you can see I have organized all those photos from my collage, and just thought to myself, like, okay, what about this appeals to me, or what I'm gonna like, why I'm gonna use this as a reference. And I broke it down to ideas. So ideas is more like, I don't really like how it looks. I don't even like the colors. I don't even like the topic of it. But maybe the concept of this like 8-bit art is interesting. I don't know. Reference art. This was from a photo book I got from Japan, and I like the way they kind of like dissected each part of this character model. Kind of pretty cool. So this, you can imagine this could be like a website, and you can talk about the different colors or components that you've used, and make a cool concept out of that. This guy had an interesting thing of putting the local time in there, and their latitude, longitude. That's kind of weird, but it makes sense for him, I guess, because maybe he is traveling around. We don't know. I had some ideas from like video games that might be kind of cool. You never see that on a website, right? Feeling aesthetic is more of, this is going to be the difficult part, which is the next step after this, is like connecting your brainstorm into visual ideas that can work. And so I'll go through that process in the next video, after I record that. But you kind of see like I kind of like the sereneness of the colors here. I like the ocean. It's kind of cool. Um, little architecture, icy stuff, like cold. Interesting. I mentioned before I like the 90s look. Uh, I'm taking a lot of reference from like mecha type of anime. It's like the ideas of it, right? It's like clean, sharp, very bold, good contrasting colors. And so, you might look at this and be like, okay, how do I incorporate this into a website? Well, maybe it's not this exact thing for a website, but it's more of just the concept and like the idea of it. So, um, bold, contrasting colors, like that's an idea of a website, right? As well as you have this where it's like organized mess, but like things are connected. Now, how do you incorporate a website? I have no clue, but I thought this was really cool, and it signifies like there's a lot of things going on, but it's kind of peaceful, right? Like she's just sleeping there, resting or something. Um, yeah, it's there's something interesting about this. Now, like, really can't incorporate this because I'm not like an artist or a drawer, so it's not like I tried to do that on my last website, which I think was kind of cool. I commissioned art to kind of do an artwork or art rendering of my workplace. So I might do something similar again. We'll see. And from there, we got colors, which is kind of self-explanatory. So I just kind of picked out the colors. Whatever looked cool, I'll pick it out. Now, this doesn't mean I'll actually use these colors. I feel kind of grimy if I like use the same exact color theme because this came all from like this really amazing artist Undurable. I believe they work for Discord or something like that. I don't know, but as a side artist, they're like really amazing at using colors and typography, a lot of stuff. And because my brand is a panda, I'm still kind of stuck with using white and black. But it's cool that like this white and black, I know they're not even exactly white and black, but these are like better versions of white and black that I could use. So yeah, like I said, you can take reference from a lot of things. How to use colors, what kind of colors to use, combination, so forth. And then last but not least, I separate into typography and layout. You can separate this. You can even have a section of just like components or websites. It's how you want to, whatever makes sense to you. You'll probably see it in the next video, how I make sense of all of this. But you can see I'm heavily influenced by Neon Genesis Evangelion. I like the text here. I'm always jealous of people that could use typography as a form of decoration, but also information. So, seeing all this, obviously you get to read what this is all about. But like, imagine taking this whole thing out. That like destroys the central part of this design. Even though there's like a lot of really cool pictures and screenshots, it's like without this text, it destroys the balance. You can see that I'm kind of liking these little like random marks. So kind of like how to use that. Pretty cool. This was another good example. It's like so dumb too, because like this is just reversed text. Can't even read it, but maybe you can. But it's like things that give the user something to look at and like figure it out, and you almost give like the user something to do. And you know, I even have shots of like super simple stuff because in the end, you know, I might just do something simple, but the idea is there. And you know, I do have references of portfolio website, so some components here is kind of cool. Mobile app ideas. It's more of just like layouts, how they're using cards. It's kind of cool. I even have pictures of TCG cards. So you can see my references and inspiration just comes from all over the place. And so as a designer, you know, I always encourage you guys to encourage anyone to explore beyond the obvious, but also don't be too obvious. I mean, don't be too vague and have a recipe for cookies in there. And unless it's like a recipe card that looks cool, then you'll be fine. Yeah, that's a short video of the 2 steps. Step zero, which is knowing what you're creating your brief, and then step 1 is brainstorming. As far as like time constraints of either step, like step 0 should just be like, if you're not working in a product company, it's usually just like something 10 minutes, right? It's not hard to figure out what you want to do and why you want to do it. Hopefully not. If you do work in a product company, then you might have to be more diligent of the why, maybe even the how you'll be presented and trying to figure it out. And after step 0 is step 1, brainstorming. I feel like this step gets skipped out a lot because, especially if you're working in product, you're already working with an existing platform. And so if you're not working on like a new feature, then you're kind of just working with what you have. If you are doing a new feature, I do recommend brainstorming, but you might also be limited to other websites or even competitors, and which is fine. But I would kind of encourage, if you have some time to play around, like, okay, like if I were to do this feature on a different medium, how would that look? You know, I've seen really cool people that took references of older products, like hardware products or machines or VCRs, and they've implemented some of the UX from those into a feature website. I thought that was always very creative and neat. And then for brainstorming, like this whole thing was actually like a year's worth of like gathering. Probably I started this early this year for 2024 because I knew I wanted to redo my website in 2024. So brainstorm could take a long time, and when you're finally ready to execute it, then you'll do this process of elimination, because not I've had a lot more, maybe double the photos of here, and then I just slowly cut them down because some of them were just not matching the aesthetics that I wanted specifically, and so I took them out. But those are the 2 steps, and we'll get to the next step once I finish that. But the goal of this is I'm trying to get this done by the end of October, so let's hopefully I get that all done. So take care. I'll see you at the next show.